Hey guys, I'm gonna try to make a quick, hopefully I can draw. Yeah, making these videos is a little complicated because I really can't see what's on the screen. I can see, but I want to make sure that I'm putting everything on the... Let's see, I pulled this out earlier. I took out the staples. This is the only comic book I've done this to, but with the purpose of I'm going to start copying these pages for learning, just to check out the way it's structured. Let's see. This looks like Deadpool, but I don't think it's Deadpool. It is Deadpool. This is Backlash. It is Deadpool, I think. You guys see? Yeah. Let's see, what am I gonna draw? So I took this apart. Luckily it has numbers, so I could probably put it back together. I'm not gonna damage the pages. I'm gonna put them in a reorganize them. Maybe there's a Wildcats character here. Let's try to make up something. Let's try to come up with our own. Let me see. You guys see that? Yeah. I had to move the table a little so I could see what's going on. So this is basically how these things are printed. I'm guessing everything's done like this. Printed on, what is this kind of paper? This is like it's bigger than US letter. It's bigger than US letter, but printed in Canada. So these are Canadian comic books. It's a cool spaceship. It's a cool spaceship. So I'm not gonna damage the comic book. I'm just gonna look at it, study it a little. This is the cover with advertisement on the back, a PlayStation video game. I don't know what year this is. It's 95. This is a 95 comic book. Ruffner, Booth, Ruby, and Ty. Oh, okay, let's try to... I'm gonna come up with my own figure. So what I've been doing lately is something David Finch showed earlier in one of his drawing videos, is that he uses body parts, basically uses body parts from all kinds of comic books, which seems like it's an easy thing to do. It wasn't obvious at first for me. It was really difficult. I thought these things were created all from scratch, but apparently a lot of these things are recycled. Let's use one of these. I don't want to draw robots because I'm not. I'm drawing figures, humans, right now. I'm just gonna take. Let's draw something like this. Let's draw something like this. Okay, so what we do, we use. So the page doesn't fold this way, but I'm gonna fold it anyways. Gently. I don't want to hurt the comic book. The idea is not to ruin it, but to, it's more of a learning device that it's a learning thing. So basically it's a small head on top of a huge torso. These are some huge arms. What I could do is maybe take the pose of whatever this is. This is a really small head for the body that it's on. Just make it a little bit rounder and bigger, so that it's not exactly the same. The arms could also change. I could also change the pose of the arms. Not exactly the same. This is the stomach, the waist, and this is the leg. The knee, the boot, and that's basically it. That's the figure. Okay, but we grab another. Let's grab another figure. You kind of see what's. You can barely see the figure because it's too light. We grab some form of this kind of monster here, and we place this head on top. It's got long hair. It's got a big. It's got like a shoulder pad. This is the bicep, the tricep, the forearm. So let's make the arm, complete arm. The hand, the fingers. There's no thumb, but I'll just make it up really quick. There's the thumb. So how am I doing this so quickly is because, of course, I'm copying something, but I also have a very constant knowledge of anatomy. I am always looking through anatomy books so that I'm not drawing completely off maybe scale, proportion. I want to keep it human. I try to keep the 5 fingers. I do draw 5 fingers. I don't want to. I see some people, they want to keep it cartoon and they want to make sure that people know that it's not real. So then it's 3 or 4 fingers. But I like to make sure I can draw 5. So then when I do have to draw 5 fingers, I'll be able to do it with ease. This is the boot here. Hopefully I can. Yeah, there's the foot. Okay, so I have something here. Maybe put it on top of some sort of building or platform on top of something bigger. I don't know, maybe a spaceship. You see that? Okay, it's not bad. Let's do a little cleaning up. I can barely see this. So the great thing about having these comic books is that I have a lot of reference work. A lot of this stuff is obviously fantasy imagination, but it's proportionate to human reality. So it passes off as good comic book. I guess even if it's not real, it passes off as good reference because these are original designs. So this is from something I learned from David Finch following his channel. He was, I think he was copying, no, not Lobo. He was doing something else, another character. And in one instance, he talked about looking within the comic book for a different leg of the same character. And the beautiful thing about these especially these Image comic books, for some reason, these Image characters, actually I'm imagining it's like Marvel. You have the entire comic book to utilize. It's almost like a standard, right? Everybody has the same, around, not exactly, but around the same chest, the same hair. You know, men are usually the same size, unless they're huge, like a Hulk or even the Hulks. You know, the big guys are usually the same size. All the big guys are usually the same size. So wait, now I'm copying too much. So now it's looking too much like this one. We'll look for something similar. Something similar. This guy. So let's give him some hair here. It's a very collage form of drawing. It's very sloppy, but I'm trying to create my own figure. So I'm doing it from these originals, which I'm assuming aren't very original. They're from other superheroes they've studied. But this is just one way of doing it. I mean, there's other ways of copying. Wait, this was. I gave him too much back here. Oops. So the other drawing, I'm showing you how I sort of kind of erase. But on this one that I'm using lots of reference, that I am being a little bit more careful. And anyways, continuing with whatever this stuff is, it has nothing to do with the figure, but I guess it adds to the composition. So I sort of turn it so I can see his arm. I know it's a bicep. A bicep is always a bicep, no matter whose bicep it is. But it's good to have these references so that I can distinguish my own figure. It has a big arm. Huge arms. This is probably, for some people, the hardest thing to draw. But I think it's easy. It's basically memorizing it's just memorizing the basic shapes. Some figures. So the basic idea is lots of copying. There are sections of interpretation where I'm making stuff up, but it's parts of an original figure. Throw some glasses on them. Let's throw some glasses on them. So if you're wondering if fine art has anything like this fine art, what would be something that you could do when if you're looking at excuse the I'm hitting scratching my head. You can do the same with fine art with learn a lot about composition by copying color and form. You know, maybe something like a Picasso. It's one thing that I'm copying this for educational reasons, but in the end if I ink it correctly, I ink it in my own I look at maybe my own ideas, start inking. Start inking it maybe a certain way, then the figure is obviously being interpreted by me. So there is let me go back to the original. I want to get this shadow right. Even though it's like a made-up shadow, it's one that works. So we can copy some of it. It's not completely off. What do we got here? So what makes the difference between it's like if this is taking me, how long has it been? So far I'm up to, what is it, 20 minutes? I did that in 20 minutes. Other people do these things in less time. Some people do it in more time. What can I take from this Wildstorm? It's got a cool, this looks like a medieval type of, looks like He-Man, like a He-Man guard thingy on his chest. Well, there's so much work that you have to do to every single part of the armor. This is difficult. So if I try to redraw his chest, I will get a much better idea of what to do. I know he has a square chest and abs. You know, the leg has a lot of muscles on top. This is where the boot starts. Give him a boot. He's got boots on. Some sort of space boots. But that does not look like a good space boot. I gotta look for one. Let's work on his hand. So this starts as a sketch, and then eventually it turns into a functional drawing that I can use within a comic book. How would this, so this would be the shoulder, right? So from this point on, I'm gonna make up my own stuff. So I made up this thumb. This would be the nail. This would be the upper part of the finger, and this would be the rest of the finger. This is the index. Usually has it's like a long kind of finger. It's not the longest because we know that the middle finger is the longest. The nail is kind of square. This one has a nail, but it's not square, it's sort of pointy. This is not the middle finger. which is like the fattest finger. It's like long and fat, this one. I'm getting good at drawing hands very quickly, making them up. I had to draw a lot of hands in art school. I had to do a lot of etchings, and actually it was just me. It was my idea to etch my hands, and I did a lot, which helped me memorize the form. So now we have the bicep here, which is huge. Hair. This is the groin. I don't know why it didn't, how come I didn't draw it like this? It's a really, really muscular, weird figure. Okay, so I turn the paper to get a better perspective of the finger. This is part of the finger. Sometimes I like distortion in the body, like I can live with some distortion, but when it looks really, really off, actually that's not true. When it looks off-putting is when I decide to change it. Because sometimes it's really off, but it looks really cool and it really adds to composition. This is a terrible leg here. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna redraw this limb. We're gonna put it here. Gonna stretch it out so that it's not comic book. Yeah, that's the problem with these dynamic poses. It looks easy. It looks like it would be easy to change, but it's not. It's difficult because he's got some sort of rhythm going on, and it's something that's been worked out already. So it's very difficult to redraw it. Well, it's not that it's difficult, it's just time consuming. Excuse me. The back is got shoulder blades. This thing, I don't know what this is. Maybe, yeah, not put him on top of a surface. Just sort of. But it would be a much bigger leg because he's such a big guy. That's why it looks kind of off-putting. What may seem like an easy thing, like adding muscle, you just make it thicker, and it could be that, and it also could be something else. So right there, it looks decent. It doesn't look like it needs much work, much fixing. Like it's sort of like the main idea. This would be the knee. This is the. So there comes a point. I don't know if maybe the 20-minute mark. At 20 minutes, I stopped copying the comic book. 25 minutes, and now I'm just sort of. I thinned out his face. You know, take away some chin, and now I start to seek my aesthetics. The things that I think help the comic book, or help my drawing, and maybe the story. He's got like short hair, but he's also got these long braids. Let's make this so they're not like Irish. These Irish braids. Well, I don't know if they're Irish, but because he looks like he's Chinese or Oriental, Japanese. But this is the thing that is very attractive. Well, in my thing is basically the human figure, so I'm basically showing you. There's a lot of things that, yeah, I had some leg here. This would be his leg. Because I really like you know, the fine art stuff, which is very precise and very accurate, and atmosphere, and you know, it's delicate work, it's specific. This has more of my interpretation of the body, me creating me creating anatomy out of thin air. You know, it could be real, it could be made up, it could be whatever, but how I'm so attracted to this right now is that it's invention. invention. It helps me. How are we doing on time? 35. Good. So 35 minutes to create this. Right now I'm like, the thrill is creation. There's room for error. There's room for interpretation. There's room for this happens also in fine art. If you're doing some sort of like experimental Bauhaus Fluxus movement, abstract expressionist, impressionistic, something, etc. There's room for all of this as well. But it's specifically this, this comic book thing, cartoon and action figure, talking about cartoons, talking about animation. There's room for a lot of design and invention. Sort of like a what is that called? A graphic. I forgot what it's called. Well, graphics and there's some design. Using this Faber-Castell sharpener, which is really good. These are Staedtler Tradition B pens. These are excellent. These are good. They give me the darks I like. And this is HB lead, Staedtler HB lead. This is ink on the. So overall, I think I'm finished. I'm just gonna do a few corrections. Give it more shape. There's a lot of work to be done here in terms of detail and anatomy. But since it's an action scene, sometimes I can, within the comic book, I think I can get away with adding more rhythm and emphasis on design. Like, I don't have to be so precious with proportions. I can invent stuff. And I seem to follow guidelines, right? The anatomy it's still the bone structure, the same bone structure. But if it was some sort of alien, I could do some really weird stuff to the form, some form of alien. As you can see, some of this stuff is really squared off, which is really cool. This is one of the things I was talking about Ryan Ottley. Ryan Ottley has this style where he's just like squaring off curves, and they look really cool. It's like really adds to what he's doing. This is really, I'm guessing it also has to do with speed. It helps him draw faster. It gives him more of a, I guess, a modern edge cartoon wise. But a lot of his stuff is really accurate in terms of proportions, which is really cool. This stuff is pretty gnarly. Anyways, that's the figure. There's some details I have to work out here, but I'm pretty much done. Let's just finish off the fingers. There's something about perspective. I was talking about in a recent video about the way things are viewed through the eye. There's something about perspective in one instant. It's like sometimes you're talking to someone and they're a little far away, and they talk with their hands and stuff and mannerisms. And if you take a picture with them talking to you like this, mannerism stuff, what is that called? I forgot the name. Perspective. When you start viewing the human body through a specific, through a perspective, you see that some things get smaller and some things are a lot bigger than how your mind is perceiving them. I love to erase these, because I can, with the ink, I can add let's leave it like that. I also like this this look of being erased. I think the eraser adds a lot of atmosphere to a drawing. So as I was saying, that there's perspective. There's something about looking at something through your perspective and then through somebody else's. And it's really, really strange, but it's true sometimes when you look at some photography. You're like, whoa, I thought, you think, especially when you're in the practice of drawing, you think that some things are a certain way, and as you start getting better at drawing, you start realizing that, no, that's a correct perspective. It's a correct way of viewing it. Even if it's wrong, I'm talking in terms of maybe not as a professional draftsman, because if you're a professional, maybe like a fine art, you're selling portraits and you're telling people, no, that's what you really look like. Well, that's a lot different. I mean, that's not true, because you could really be doing something incorrectly. But since maybe in terms of design and maybe a comic strip or a comic book, you can really improvise and improvise the perspective. Some things are a lot bigger, some things are a lot smaller. And how do you know this? You have to draw a lot. Some things are forgiven. Sometimes if you see like stuff like Simon Bisley, he draws these really weird misshapen proportionate bodies. They look really, really cool because he has dominion over the anatomy of superheroes and aliens and etc., etc., etc. And he can pull off, through composition, through the balance of the thing, he can pull off a lot of things that normally wouldn't be allowed, or that wouldn't look really good. We're just gonna ink a little. So you guys can see that I've been working on comic books and the human figure. I've been looking at a lot of manga lately, and that shit is crazy. I really like it. I think it's exceptional. I didn't like it before for some reason. I mean, I wasn't really into manga. I could watch a couple of, maybe Ninja Scroll was the first anime movie I watched, and I thought was super crazy, and wow, I can watch this again. I loved Ninja Scroll for a really long time, back in middle school, high school. But that was probably it. I wasn't really into Akira. I just most recently saw it for the first time in its entirety, because every time I would watch it, my friends would be watching it. I would fall asleep. I don't know. I didn't like it. I think it was the ambience or something. I don't know. It was just heavy. All the cartoons and the drawing. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. There's something about Akira I didn't like. I did not like it. It just really, really. I don't know. It took energy. It didn't really give me energy. It really like took my. Anyways, uh, just getting back into drawing and going to art school and doing all this stuff. Really getting into Instagram, following all these artists. Really valuing my education and really starting to investigate all this stuff. I started getting back into comic books a long time ago, but then I didn't do it because I was really going to school and I didn't want to interrupt my education. So I did do some sort of drawing, some stuff, but I didn't really get any comic books like to learn. I just kind of looked at some comic books, but I didn't really get into them until most recently, like a couple years ago, that I got the Marvel way. And anyways, a lot of you know these stories have been following me. And most recently, I started buying manga, and that shit is crazy. That shit is just completely wicked. 47. The drawing in those comic books, manga and anime movies, ridiculous. I think we was talking about Simon Bisley drawing like really off the wall stuff. I started watching these anime from the 80s, and then I looking at the way these demons are drawn, all these demons, these Japanese oriental demons, well, manga and anime stuff. I started really tripping out, and if you really look, you can see that these are out of proportion figures, which are drawn very well, but they have nothing to do with obviously human body, and they go from human to demon, back and forth, and it's just ridiculous. But it's the way it's drawn, and it's crazy. It's really, I did something wrong here. I don't know what it is right now. I don't know how to fix it. I gotta wait till I made a mistake here. And I have to use the whiteout. Oh no. No mistakes. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the perspective. That could be the leg. That could be part of the leg. Anyways, I'm looking at, what is it, Sakamoto Days. I was looking at, I got the first Dragon Ball, not the little, yeah, the original Dragon Ball, and I was looking at the Dragon Ball, and it's really intricate and proportionate to what it is, and lots of action, and what looked like very like immature drawing, and to the untrained eye, someone who doesn't know about, is really good. Really well drawn comic books. What's the other one? Chainsaw right now? Oh, just that Chainsaw, the kid whoever drew, the guy who drew Chainsaw. That shit is crazy. Kudos to those artists. They just spend hours drawing, and it's hundreds of pages of comic books. Like, I'm just drawing this one, and my hand, every time I finish drawing one, as I start inking, my hand starts to really hurt. It's only been an hour of drawing. I'm assuming these guys draw 8, 9, 10 hours, maybe even more, 12. Just non-stop drawing. So yeah, this is my drawing video. So this is where I'm at in the drawing. Let's give this guy a name. Let's say this is based in the 90s in LA. Well, he's a bodybuilder. He's sort of like a hacker. Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk. Let's see. A superhero. What's a superhero? He's just super intelligent. Super intelligent hacker from the 90s. Let's see. Oh, right there, I give him fatter lips. I should have just kept one. Sometimes by fixing something, it ends up looking worse. But it looks alright, it doesn't look bad. Nick was tired, he wants to go to sleep. It's late at night. Alright, you guys, we're almost finished here. 53 minutes, 7 more minutes of this. I'm thinking of a name, but I don't know what to call him. Hacker from the 90s. What should I call him? He's a hacker. I'm thinking. Maybe something from those AT&T commercials. Something from those AT&T commercials. something from the AT&T commercials. Let's see. Asterix. I'm sure that's a common name. Asterix or 800. Should we call you 800? What do you think? 800. So he's athletic, he's really muscular, because he has to run away from, I'm assuming, bad guys and terrorists. So 800 it is? What do you think, guy? What do you think? I think it's gonna stick. 800 it is. I can't think of anything else. $800. Give a little bit shadow. $800. Computer hacker from the 90s. 800. Lives in unknown places. Went a little crazy with the hair. It's alright. It's like punk. Cyberpunk. We had a little dread here. That's it. Just sort of kind of clean them up a bit. Excuse me. So he does sort of look, he's got this oriental look, because I copied it from an oriental, but the hair is not really helping him. He's got a, shitload of hair. Looks like he's wearing a beanie, but he's not wearing a beanie. Didn't really do it with the hair. Gotta work on that. How we doing on time? How we doing on time? What? Oh, 1 hour. Almost finished. So this is 800. A hacker from the 90s who lives in unknown places all over the world. And is athletic and very smart. That's about it for now. It has these like $800. $100. 800 right hand. 800. I think it's better if I write it down. It looks a lot better. All right, that's it. That's the drawing for tonight. Hope you guys liked it. See you in the next video. Good night.